You probably clicked on this video because you're not satisfied with where you are right now. Maybe you're not making enough money, maybe you want a better physique, or maybe you want that loving partner in your life. Whatever that thing may be, you just know you need to change because you know you could be doing better. But there's one problem. You can't find the motivation to change. And it feels like a trap. One half of you is saying, let's change for the better, while the other half says, I don't have the motivation. So you're stuck in the middle here, getting pulled and pushed and pulled and pushed. And this constant cycle of being pulled and pushed just leads to inaction. But what if I told you it's not a motivation problem at all? You see, it's actually an identity problem. The person you are right now thinks that motivation is the key to change. But this isn't an objective truth, it's a subjective belief, which means it's subject to change. See, this belief has shaped your identity to the person you are right now, and it's led you to feel stuck in a situation that demands change. But here's the thing, this belief is like trying to fit a car through a bedroom door. It's just not gonna work. But because you're so used to this identity, your first solution was to expand the bedroom door to fit the car. And if you didn't understand that analogy, the car is motivation and the bedroom door is change. Your first solution was to think to expand the bedroom door to fit the car inside your bedroom, but there's actually a way easier solution than that. And that solution is to shift your identity. You want to become a person that doesn't need motivation to change or doesn't need motivation to do anything. But how do you actually do that? Well, knowing the problem is already solving half of it. So you watching this video up until this point has solved the problem in half. Now you have half a problem to solve because now you know that it's an identity problem, not a motivation problem. So let's actually break it down. I'm gonna use a debating analogy for this. So I want you to imagine a debate, and this is the podium. I know my drawings are shit, you don't have to point it out, okay? But let's just say this is your identity now. This is the person that believes they need motivation to change. And this person believes that you don't need motivation to change. But here's the catch. You are a supporter. You get to choose which identity to support. And obviously, we want to help you. We want you to win. So logically, the better person to support would be identity number 2, correct? And since we're on identity 2's side, I have 3 weapons to give you during this debate that's going to assure that you're going to win. Weapon number 1 is objective arguments. Now, like I said in the beginning, knowing a problem is solving 50% of it. So now that we know identity number 1's dirty tricks up his sleeve, we can counter him and we have a higher chance of winning with identity 2. Now the first weapon is going to dismantle identity 1 and slowly chip it. Because if you've been believing identity 1 for years now, you're gonna be used to it and it's gonna be rock hard. So you can't just say, oh, I don't need motivation to change. It's not that easy, right? You have to chip it. Slowly by slowly. So we have 3 weapons, and the first one is objective arguments. Identity 1 thinks they need motivation to change. But like I said in the beginning, that's a subjective belief. So identity 2 can counter with objective arguments and say, hey, you actually don't need motivation, you need discipline, or you need desire, or you need purpose, whatever it may be. Because the truth is you don't need motivation to do anything. You just have to do it. Right? But that's oversimplifying it. But the fact of the matter is it's true. It's an objective argument, so you can't argue with that. That leads to 1 point to identity 2 to 0. You see that? This identity is winning. Now, weapon number 2 is self-talk. The reason why you want to use this weapon at this stage is because identity number 1 is a sneaky guy. See, you've been used to this identity for so long that it actually has hidden cards up his sleeve. But I'm gonna show you exactly how to counter it. So what do I exactly mean by hidden cards up his sleeve? Well, identity 1 believes that you need motivation to change. We've broken it down with truth, logic, and objective statements. But this is where identity 1 gets the upper hand. You see, identity 1 is going to use the advantage of familiarity. Familiarity. Am I saying that right? Anyways. So like I said, identity 1 has been with you for so long now, so he knows you personally because he is you. He's part of you. And he's gonna say, well, I don't care if science says or if the truth is that you don't need motivation to change. I'm not good enough. I need motivation to change. because I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. I need motivation. I'm not disciplined. I'm a lazy guy. I'm this, I'm that. That is the dirty trick up his sleeve. He's so deluded by his truth that you need motivation to change that he's justifying it. He's justifying it with negative self-talk. But hey, we know the enemy. I know the enemy, and I know what's best for you. So we're gonna use weapon number 2, reverse self-talk. See, identity 1 justifies his subjective belief by doing negative self-talk. Oh, hey, I know him. He's a lazy guy. He needs motivation. He's not disciplined. But what are we gonna do? We're gonna hit him with negative self-talk. So instead of saying he's a lazy guy, start saying, no, I'm not a lazy guy. I'm a disciplined person. Instead of saying I need motivation, say, no, I don't need motivation. I'm just gonna act anyway. Start saying it. Every time you think about it, dismantle that thinking and replace it with a positive one. Every time you call yourself lazy, stop yourself and say, I'm not lazy. You may think it doesn't work, but it actually works because you're dismantling years and years of this identity. Because you can't just say, like I said in the beginning, you can't just say, oh, I believe you don't need motivation to change. And then magically you just changed. That doesn't happen, all right? You need to dismantle it every day with time and consistency. Because you are a consistent person, you are a disciplined person, and you can change without motivation. Start saying it right now. Every time you have those thoughts, you need motivation. No, you don't need motivation. That's a trick your first identity has been playing on you, okay? Now, if you can use weapon number 2 correctly, you're obviously gonna win another point. And as per debate rules in this match, it's first to 3, okay? We need one more point to fully kill this identity. And once you kill this identity, you will no longer need motivation to do anything ever again. If you want to change, you can just change. If you want to get some money, you can just get some money. You don't need I don't have the motivation. I'm just going to scroll in bed. None of that's going to happen. You're going to be disciplined. You're going to be like David Goggins, all right? Now, the final weapon is the feedback loop. You see, you've dismantled this belief and you've also reversed the negative self-talk. Now identity number 1 is desperate. He's hanging on by threads. He's literally one uppercut, one hook, one jab away from dying, completely getting destroyed. So he's gonna do everything in his power to stop you from winning, okay? Now how does he do that? You see, the reason why this identity has stuck with you for so long is because it starts with a belief. Then it goes on to affirmations. The belief being, oh, I'm not motivated enough to change, or I need motivation to change. The affirmations being, oh, I'm a lazy guy, I'm not a disciplined guy, I need motivation. Now, the third one is what seals the deal. It's called a feedback loop. So when you say something and then it actually happens, you're reinforcing that idea with yourself. So every time you say I'm a lazy guy and you actually do lazy things, then that belief gets stronger and stronger and stronger to the point where this identity has taken over. You actually do need motivation to change at that point because you've reinforced it so much. But now that we've actually reversed it with weapon number 1 and weapon number 2, the last thing to do is to use the feedback loop on him. So the belief being you don't need motivation to change. We've established that because that's true. That's logically true. And then we've affirmed ourselves, I am a disciplined person. I'm like David Goggins. I get my work done. I can change. I don't need motivation. But weapon number 3 is actually the most important, because if you just say those words, nothing is going to happen. You need to reinforce it. You need to give it feedback. So whenever you tell yourself, I'm not a lazy person, instantly show the world that you're not lazy. You can't say, oh, I'm not a lazy person and continue to scroll. No, start taking action. But that's easier said than done, right? But if you've done weapon 1 and weapon 2 correctly, it should be easy enough because identity 1 should be weakened. He should be in the brink of death, okay? So all you have to do is do that one action. And after that one action, identity number 2 gets stronger and stronger and stronger. With every action, it gets stronger and it's a loop. It's a feedback loop. And it's gonna get to a point where it's a 3-0 win. And identity 1 is no more. Which means you no longer have the belief that you need motivation to change. That's not something you can fathom. It's not part of your identity no more. Whenever someone asks you, hey man, you've changed, you can say, yeah, because I don't need motivation to change anymore. You can say that and you can genuinely believe it because that's part of your identity now. It's part of your personality. It's part of your beliefs. And as a result, you make more money. You become more fit. It's easier for you to succeed and you can easily find that loving partner or whatever it is you want. It's easy for you now with this identity. So, you're welcome. I want to thank you for watching the video till the end. If you like this type of content, please subscribe. And as always, just know that I'm rooting for you.